War Thunder's newest dev server just went live, and we got a whole bunch of vehicles to go through. Some cool and unique, and others, well, we've seen them before. Let's hop right in. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the dev server. I want to just briefly touch on everything that is coming in this update. What do you think? Is this a filler update, or is this kind of more of a substantial one? I think their December or November update is going to be big, and this is just kind of giving us a little bit of sprinkle. But first order of business, the T58. So we do have a 3.8 second reload. I think in real life it's supposed to be 2.8 seconds. And again, an M103 hull, not the best. I'm not a huge fan of the M103. It does have decent armor. It's nothing, oh, who imagine hitting right there? Yeah, it does have decent armor, but at 8.0, everything's just gonna heat FS or APFS DSU. Let's take it out on a test drive. And let's take a look at how the new map looks. Ooh, you can already tell the trees are a little bit higher fidelity. My FPS is doing okay. But guys, let me be honest with you here. I would not recommend buying this premium unless they add the historically accurate APHE and HE rounds. It only has heat and HESH. That's not bad, but at 8.0, I don't know. I will be making a video about it. Ooh, do you see that little glow coming off of the tank? That seems relatively new. I think they've done a couple of graphical adjustments here. But yeah, this is, I think, the most important, or the most hyped up vehicle. But I would not spend the money to buy this 8.0 premium. And America 8.0 isn't the strongest either. And with the XM800 moving up to 8.7, it just won't be fun for the majority of people. Cool gimmicky tank. I'll definitely do a video on it. But I would not buy it unless they get everything historically accurate, because I just feel like that's the way to go. Hey, buddy. Let's just take a look here. Oh my god, the AI is wiggling. But let's move on to the next vehicle. All right, we are back on the new Poland map. We're going to take a look while we explore the M44's big brother, the M55, because why wouldn't we need more SPGs, right? I think the thing we needed the most was SPGs, actually. I wonder, did they fix the... Nope. Cool. All right, let's take a look at this updated map. I mean, already you could tell the buildings are a lot... That looks like it's from Enlisted almost. It really almost looks like it's from Enlisted. But yeah, this thing's interesting because it has a 203mm caliber round with 64 high explosive fragmentation. That's a lot. That's way more than you need. But it also has a 34-second reload full stock, 29 if you're full spaded. I mean, it's just another SPG, another copy-paste SPG that we're going to see on everything. This looks really nice. I'm actually quite impressed with how this looks. Yeah, I mean, you just have a really long reload. Like a super long reload. It's basically a KV2, semi-fast. Kind of impressed about that, but really nothing standout-ish in terms of this American tank. Someone's poor PS4 is not going to enjoy running this. We'll do the kill test right here. Yeah, it's pretty lethal. It's pretty lethal, but you see that long reload? Oh boy. Hi, KV2. And we do not have much armor. But anyway, let's go to the next vehicle. All right, for those who know the CCVL, you'll probably enjoy the Stingray. But at 9.3, it fires DM33, which is quite good. That is quite good. We're going to test the top speed of this thing because it is a light tank and mobility is key here. No thermals whatsoever. We do have a scout drone. Let's see if the scout drone gets thermals. Scout drone does not get thermals. I don't know if I like the scout drone changes where everyone can scout. It now turns, a lot of the top tier matches just turns into an air arcade or a ground arcade match. Fully stabilized, light tank, very fast, semi-fast, I think. Definitely a welcome addition. Ooh, that sounds nice. Reload's a bit long for a tank at this BR. I think it's at 7.7 seconds. So you do have 7.7 seconds, 6.7 fully spaded. So it is a little bit longer of a reload. So just be aware of that. You cannot be super duper aggressive with this thing. A lot of the MBTs will out reload you. These bots suck, guys. We do get Commander Override. Internals, quite compact. I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun getting hit somewhere. And there's one shrapnel shell and the entire crew is... Yeah, you even see it here. I can't move the turret. Because one of the modules got hit. So I don't know if I like that. I mean, I do like the kind of the high detail, but it is a very frustrating game mechanic. And Douglas shot me. Let's move to the next tank. All right, so I actually lied. We are using a plane. This is a plane. Ooh, what a cockpit. Wow, they fully modeled this bomber cockpit, guys. Let's see. Okay, so B-66, one of my most anticipated aircraft. It has 4 3,000-pound bombs, non-afterburning engines, but it's relatively quick, and this looks beautiful. Ooh, I think I know what video I'm doing first, guys. But anyway... the loadout's a bit underwhelming. 4 3,000 pounds is definitely nothing to cough at, but I thought in real life this had a bit more. I think it's the option of carrying either 4 3,000 pounds or 14 750-pound bombs. But if you guys know anything about the 750 or the 1,000-pound American bombs, is that they don't really work the best. So one of the coolest things here is this is actually radar guided. I'm not sure if they've modeled it. That's something I'm actually going to grab and have someone test out here because I'd love to figure out. We do have a radar, which is quite cool. We don't really have any use for it because we don't have forward operating guns or missiles. But hey, why need missiles when big bomb do trick? So we'll just go in here. Does this have air brakes? It does have air brakes. It's semi-responsive on the controls. It is a lot better. Oh, my controls reset. Did you guys see that? Hold on. It actually is quite responsive. Does not have the best rate. I will be the first to admit it here. But does look really nice. A little disappointed that on the leak list they included the A6E swipe, and it's not in here. I'm very saddened about that. But last but not least, for the USA, we actually get a new attack helicopter, and America finally gets IR-guided munitions on their helicopters. So no more laser, no more sitting there. So bye-bye AGM 114K. Hello AGM 179. Let's take a look and see how good this thing is. Oh, my helicopter controls are different, guys. All right, let's take a look. Power, fire. Can we unlock you? Unlock you. Fire. Oh my god. So we got, I mean, they're slow. They're very slow. But we finally can do multiple missiles at once. But with the SPA, you will see later, you'll see why that might not be a good thing. They're quite slow. Look at that cool little new missile thing. That looks cool. Little volumetric missile smoke. Tracks pretty semi-accurately. Of course, that one, you know, average Hellfire experience. But yeah, that looks quite nice. That looks quite nice. We get 8 of them. That is very cool. Finally, America gets better helicopter munitions, while Russia has had some great for years. All right, one of Germany's only additions in this update is the T2, the Bf-109 T2, and you can already see the wings are longer, which will increase its stall characteristics. And the Bf-109, as you guys know, is already an excellent aircraft. And it's at 3.0, which is quite interesting. I feel like a lot of people will buy this to farm into StatPad, because this is StatPad territory. You know, that 2730, if you guys ever played AirRB, there's some schmuck with the P39N playing, you know, in outer space, playing as safe as possible. I feel like this will be a really good dogfighter. Now, I do not claim to be extremely knowledgeable in that aspect. I have not played a Bf-109. Ignoring that, I have not played a Bf-109 in quite a while, but I love them. It's one of my favorite aircraft. It turns pretty tight. I can feel the difference. It is noticeable. Aileron roll is obviously because the wings are a bit longer, a little bit less sharp. At least that's what I feel. I am not Defin. I do not claim PD Defin. He will probably do a more in-depth thing on this. I am just showcasing all the new vehicles. But yeah, actually a decent addition. Again, it's a premium, so we'll figure it out, but it's a Bf-109. All right, we're moving on to Russia now, and we have another BMD-4. I honestly could not tell you the difference between the BMD-4, any of the BMD-4s. I really cannot. So if anyone in the comment section knows a bit more, be happy to tell you. But yeah, if you guys know about the BMD-4, amazing tank, ridiculously annoying to face. We're just going to kind of drive around here and take a look at the new map just for a little bit. What I'd like to do is, if they do make new maps, every time they've added a new map, or not a new map, but rehashed an old map, they tend to make it worse in some way. I don't know how, but they remove, you know, the fun spots and etc. They open it, but they're like, oh, we keep it the exact same. So I'm interested to see what they did here. I would love to have the bridges back on the small version of the map, but I'm sure that people who got the rare BMD event vehicle years ago are quite happy we have 2 more variants added, and then their rare tank is no longer rare. But we're going to move on to one of the most important updates in Russia, and that's the AA vehicle. All right. This is one of the most anticipated vehicles, and one that I want to talk about for a bit, because Russia always has to have the best stuff in the game. The NATO or any other country can't eat for too long without Russia getting the best stuff. I wonder why that is. But regardless of, you know, the jokes, I want to talk about this missile. So we have a very fast missile with a lot of TNT equivalent, 30G overload, 70K lock and launch range. We're going to test to see how true that actually is, because, you know, stat stuff. But the biggest thing is a 25-meter trigger radius. That is ridiculous. So the missile, you can dodge and you think you dodge, but that missile could be a bus, 5 bus lengths away from you, hit, and you'll die. I think it's a bit ridiculous. I think this is the Pantsir is already one of the best AAs in the game. I don't think Russia needed a new AA. But of course, we can't have Germany have anything. But yeah, look at this launcher. Look how big those missiles are, man. Ridiculous size. I don't know why they're looking this way. But, all right, we're going to do some testing here. All right, I'm just going to fire at, 23 and see what happens. Oh, my God. They updated the smoke trails a bit. That looks really cool, I think.
Yeah, that's 100% gonna hit.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, so yeah, 20K away, you're cooked. You were at the top right corner of the map, and you couldn't get any further.
Yeah.
So pretty much anywhere you go, you're cooked. Is a no-fly zone if this thing is up. So, all right, let's see. 24 kilometers away at the very edge of the map. This is as far away as Dave can go. I mean, we already know the ranges of the other vehicles, but Nah, nothing Dave can do. Really nothing you can do. So, yeah, Russian cast might, if you get Germany and Russia on a team again, it's gonna be like War Thunder 2 updates ago where they just run free. They just run trains on you. But yeah, I'm sure, I feel like this was not needed. I feel like this was not needed at all. Last but not least for Russia, we do have a new squadron helicopter. It is a massive Hind with Vickers, so nothing quite new or out of the ordinary, but we do have these, as you guys all know and love or hate, these beam riding Vickers. Probably nothing crazy, nothing too crazy, but regardless, at least we have a accessible high-tier helicopter that's not a premium. But regardless, I don't personally enjoy helicopters in the game. I hate the way that they play. I hate everything about them. I don't think they add anything new. This is entirely my own opinion. Please do not get angry at my own opinion. Moving on to the next one. All right, speaking of new anti-air, Britain got access to this thing. Definitely not as good as the Buck. Good maximum over G, lock range 16 kilometers, but launch range is 45. Interesting. And then you look at that trigger radius, 6 meters. So obviously it's not as fast, it's not as maneuverable, or it's not as fast, it's more maneuverable, but trigger delay is smaller. We'll see. It has 2 missiles as the CAM and the CAM ER. I'm using the CAM ER, which has a larger caliber. I have not really figured out any other difference between the two. He's flaring, he's notching. Oh, the missiles actually went for the notch. Look at that. So these are easily notchable. Interesting. Oh, is that missile going to hit? Let's find out. Yep, that did get him. But again, he was much closer to the battlefield. Nothing like the Buck. So interesting addition. I don't think this will be too crazy. Again, top tiers just become a lot harder, especially if Germany and Russia are on the same team. Good luck ever getting into an aircraft. So you guys might have heard about the Ram 2, but have you heard about the Ram 1? So the only difference between the Ram 2 and the Ram 1, at least that I can see, is this one holds the 2-pounder. Yeah, the one with 66 millimeters of penetration with the APHE, and the APCBC has 89 or 90. So pretty common tank cannon. You guys have probably used it. The one biggest difference about this and all the other 3.0s is this has some incredibly good armor. At 3.7, you do struggle a bit, especially in up tiers, but at 3.0, I see this thing being quite good. You obviously don't have the cannon to respond very kindly, but I feel like you can tank a lot of rounds as long as people don't hit that pesky driver port. But with this, I'm pretty sure for the first 2 weeks or so, a lot of people will be confused about how to deal with this thing. But if you ever see it in battle, pretty much all you need to do is hit that driver port. But reload is nice and quick. It is, if you ever played the Ram 2, it is very similar to the Ram 2. You're just gonna have to be a little more conscientious with where you put your shots. But actually a pretty good addition. All right, I'm doing this in the, because you just can't do this in the actual match, but we do have 3 F-18s that Britain's getting, plus the Canadian one. The Canadian one does get some pretty cool stuff, but it is limited to the AIM-7Ps, and if anyone knows about the AIM-7Ps, they're not good. It has AIM-9Ls, a bunch of AIM-7Ps, some guided munitions. We do have the AGM-65Ds and the Gs, quite nice. But top tier, you're gonna struggle a bit. You only get 4 of them each. F-18, we're just doing this really quickly because everyone has seen an F-18. I don't need to take it out and waste time with you guys. F-18 early, again, this is the Australian, the Aussies, right? Well, that's British, actually, sorry. I just got 10 dislikes. You only get the A7Ms. No smart munitions other than the AGM-62 Walleyes, which are really good bombs. If you guys have not used those, use them. They are fun. They are fun. And then a lot of dumb guided munitions. Nothing crazy. The only thing standoutish is this F-18 late right here, this 14.0. This has a potent arsenal. The AIM-120C5s, it has fucking 10 of them. C variants is awesome. It has countermeasures built in with this pod. It does get AIM-9Ms. I wish they would update. The AIM-9Ms just are not it at all. We need to get better missiles for the American jets. But incredibly potent lineup. I think this has the more powerful engines. Don't quote me on that. We have the JDAMs. We have the all of the JDAMs that you could want, as well as the smart guided munitions down here. 4 only each. We do have access to the countermeasure pods as well. But again, nothing like what the Russians get at top tier. But hey, we get the E's and the F's. So pretty decent missiles. And we also get the AGRs, 20As and 20Bs, which are pretty unique in their own way. I don't really see anyone actually using them, but only time will tell. Yeah, we do get a ground radar, which is kind of cool. It does not slave, at least here. Whee! Yeah, pretty cool. Again, Hornet, so Hornet does Hornet things. I don't really fly the Hornet, so I don't know. I can't give you too much information. All right, we are in the Japanese line, and I think this is a Taiwanese aircraft. Please don't quote me on that. But we have yet again another F5, guys. Another F5. This one gets access to Python 3s, great missiles, and the Derbies, and 4 AGM-65Ds. I've put a pretty balanced loadout here. We do have a quite nice... We have the Lightning pod. Quite nice of a pod. Again, it's an F5. You guys have flown this. You have seen it. This gets pulse Doppler. It's a decent aircraft. Probably nothing too stand out-ish in terms of that. But again, I do not play a ton of Air RB anymore. And I don't know much about this sort of stuff. I'm simply just showing you the new aircraft. I'm not really even going to go into a test flight. We just have another Gripen. Everyone knows about the Gripen. We have AIM-9Ms, 120Bs. Looks like it can only carry 4 AIM Fox 3s. It can only carry 4 Fox 3s, which is not the best. It can carry 6 AIM-9Ms, all of the ground stuff, AGM-65Gs. H is kind of interesting. I don't know if this is new or not, and I don't know if they're any good. Again, I don't know too much about top tier, so please, I'm just here to show you guys the new vehicles, but no sense of taking this to a test flight. Everyone has seen the Gripen before. Nothing new. So real quick, Japan is eating kind of good this update. We do have an M163 that is being added. I'm not going to take it out for a test drive. You guys already know what the M63 is. What I am going to do is take out this M60A3 TTS out and see if it's any good. Let's take a look at some of the relevant information. 8.7 reload, 6.7 aced. Not terrible for the BR. Could be a bit better. This does get DM33, which is quite nice, especially at 9.0, but it is on an M60 chassis, so you're not going to get anywhere anytime soon. We're just in a test drive real quick. We do get thermals, Gen 1 thermals, as you can tell, because it looks like a Mario game all of a sudden. Fully stabilized, it's at 9.0. That's pretty nice. We do get a lot of smoke, and we get ESS, which is quite nice. This is on the more modern M60 hull, but at this BR, armor does not matter. Again, it is an M60, so you're not the most mobile. You not get into places more, so you're going to have to play defensively, but... Ooh, look at that. Did you hear that new sound? That sounded nice. And again, they updated the 50 cal sound. They can never get that 50 sound quite right, huh? That sounds punchier. That doesn't sound... Before it sounded wet, which is nice. That sounds like a good cannon. Again, M60, kind of straightforward. We have a bajillion of them. And we'll go on to the most important in the Japan lineup. Probably the coolest addition that Japan has is the BM Oplot. This thing is... It looks dastardly. It is quite fast. I mean, it is a Russian MBT platform. I don't know if it's a T-72 or a T-80. I'll probably put some relevant information here. Again, I am just reviewing it very quickly. We're just going to get all over. This is going to be a very not in-depth review, very quick. It does have access to BTA-4. Pretty good round, 552. And then a tandem beam riding ATGM. Reload is good. I think around 6.6 seconds. 6.5. I was very close. Like let's check out this reverse speed, because we all know about Russian MBTs. The reverse speed is actually extremely impressive. One of the biggest downfalls of Russian MBTs is their lack of reverse gear, but with this thing, it can go negative 32. That is quite nice. Top speed's 69 kilometers an hour. Pretty nice. With either Gen 2 or Gen 3 thermals, this looks like Gen 3. Very nice vehicle. Probably will be utilized well. As you can see, there's ERA and composite up the woozah on this thing, so I'm sure it'll be well protected. Looks very modern. I think this thing will be fun. Let's check out the ATGM real quick, see how fast this thing is. We get access to a dozer, which I don't think anyone has. I've never seen a single person ever use a dozer in a game. ESS, very nice. My game lagged. And we got a bunch of smoke. Smoke goes like that. I wonder if they updated the smoke. It looks like the same old smoke. That is a very fast missile. A very fast missile. Yep, that's nice. And pretty reactive. So no complaints here. This will probably be a fun addition. Yeah, it does have these electrical optical active protection systems. So ATGMs being fired at you will be dazzled and scrambled. We do have a ton of explosive reactive armor. Look, it looks like on the sides. Armored glass. Interesting. And we do have, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but we do have a ton of protection. Looks quite nice. Looks quite modern. Looks like we do not have spall liner though. So again, anything with spall liner is going to have a severe advantage in top tier compared to something like this. But still, looks like a great vehicle to try out and have fun with. All right, Japan also has a helicopter. I forgot about the helicopter, so I'm recording all of the helicopters late. At 9.7, we have some R60Ms. We have some dumb munitions, and then we do have the Sturm missiles. Let's take a look, see what these are, because I am not super knowledgeable about this. I mean, we're Russian helicopter, big beast. Big tanky beast. Looks like they are beam riding in some way. Reduced speed, oh my god. Not the best zoom, and not the best range. Got it. Nothing really to write home about here, but new helicopter nonetheless. All right, for China, we do have the VT4. Interesting looking vehicle. It obviously was inspired by some Russian design of some sort. We do have a pretty good round. 577 mils of penetration, DTC-10. Very nice. And we also have, again, have that same, I think, the same beam riding missile that we just looked at with the Japanese tank. Probably decent tank. I don't know too much about China and China's vehicles, but we're going to check out the reverse gear real quick. Reverse gear looks fine. Negative 17, that's more than sufficient. And then what's the... Looks like it has the same carousel autoloader that the Russians use. Beam riding missile looks quite nice. But yeah, a decent addition to China for the people who have made it past the copy-paste era of China. So I think this is the... Ooh, interesting. This thing is slow. This is the Russian BE6, if I am not mistaken, and China put some new engines in it, and they look like turbine engines. Interesting vehicle. I wonder if this will have... People will buy it. It is a premium. There are a couple of premiums being added in this update. I think this has the same 23 mils that the Russian variant has. If anyone has the BE6, you'll know. Not super fast. It is a hydroplane, so interesting to see. I don't know how popular this would be. I don't know why people would really buy it, other than maybe base grinding, but it doesn't seem the fastest, so you're probably not going to get to the bases first. Looks quite unique. No complaints for me, except it is a premium. I don't know why they would add this as a premium, but we all have to hail for the snail nose. The snail nose. All right, we are in the French lineup, and French got access to a new anti-air vehicle called the Mamba. I'm going to call it the Mamba because there's a lot of AMT/T. No, I'm calling it the Mamba. Let's take a look at the missile here. Very cool. We don't have any information on the missile. This looks like an IRST. Looks very similar to what the IRST launches. I think this is actually... Oh no, this is a French vehicle or something. Looks very similar. So I would assume that it works very similarly. It's nice that French is getting a top tier SPAA because I don't think French had some amazing AA capabilities. Yeah, radar does not poke out very high, so that could be an issue, but regardless, yeah, probably a decent vehicle. Ah, it looked like I had an issue. All right, so we have a launch range of 100 kilometers, but a lock range of 16 with 50 G overload, very fast missile, proxy fuse of 2, so it has to get very close. So this thing might be good. It looks like it has a very decent range with a 100 kilometer launch range with a missile guidance time of 210 seconds. So that tells you a lot about the actual distance needed. So I presume this is a pretty long range. System, but I don't know too much about it. And it looks like the French got access to the F-16AM. This looks like a... Let's see, what does it get? It gets 6 AIM-120As. Just looks like another variant of the F-16A. Does get some nice bombs. Does get some guided bombs, JDAMs. Gets 2 AGM-65s or 6 AGM-65Ds. Pretty standard F-16 loadout. Looks very similar to the F-16 you see in the American tech tree. Always nice to see another F-16 somewhere, right? All right, we're looking at the CV90105 TML at 8.7, and it has the 105. I think this is the German gun with DM23. DM23 is not bad, especially at 8.7. This thing looks pretty potent. It has a laser warning system and night vision. Let's check out the speed here. Ooh, this thing is nice and mobile already. Is non-stabilized, which makes sense why it would be at 8.7. I'd be like 8.7 with DM23. It does get, oh my god, Gen 2 or Gen 3 thermals at 8.7 is really nice. I guess the biggest gripe is this thing is not stabilized. But you do get a laser warning system. Very nice, especially at 8.7. You get a drop on a lot of the people. At least you'll know if a helicopter's locking you, right? Really fast. Very fast. And it accelerates quite quickly, so definitely a tank where you can get into some advantageous positions early and reap the rewards, although you are at 8.7, so XM800Ts are going to be ever prevalent, so you have to be careful of that. It sucks that a whole BR you have to play around one specific vehicle, but it is what it is. Reverse gear's really good. Oh my god. -40 in reverse, really nice. So you have a lot of mobility here. Let's check the internals. Engine in the front, so engine can eat a round or two. Breach is nice and small, which is good. You won't get kind of gaijined in that aspect. 4 crew members, pretty decent. Ready rack is 12 rounds. That's not bad. All the ammo is stowed in the back. All right, looks like they have not updated this model quite yet. Or maybe they did, I don't know. We have a Mosquito in, again, Sweden. Still, it's the same 3.7 Mosquito you'll find in Britain, so really no point in me taking it out and testing it out. And at the very last, we have Israel. So we have an F-16. I don't know if that's an I or an L. Let's take a look. It has the Cs. It gets 6 Cs. Oh my goodness. Look at this thing. What an interesting looking aircraft this is. Are those external fuel tanks? I presume they are. Yes, those are external. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Definitely an aggressive looking F-16. Never really seen an F-16 like this. But we have a lot of smart munitions. We have paveways. We have GBUs. We have spices. 1,000-pound guided TV bomb. IRR. Oh, okay. A lot of things are happening here that I'm not. We have some spice as well. I think these are American. The wing JDAM'd. Spice 2000s. Interesting. These just look like American bombs. No AGMs. Interesting. So we have a lot of just bombs, but no AGMs, and a lot of, at least a decent amount of AIM C5s. It's a little bit of a weaker engine than what is found on the C variant, and with this added fuel, I'm sure it's a little bit sluggish, but we'll take it out on a little drive. I at least want to test these spices. Definitely a different looking... Oh, it's a tandem F-16. Interesting. Okay, interesting. Yeah, this is a very unique looking F-16. All right. Spice... Oh, they're glide bombs. They are glide bombs. All right, that changes a lot of things. Cool, so they have some glide bombs. I think they also can be GPS guided. They're laser, GPS, TV, whatever. I don't know. But interesting. Yep, very cool. All right, so that was pretty much every tank and plane added in the new update. Which are you the most excited about, and which would you like me to make a video on? I'm thinking definitely B66, one of the first. And then I'll probably do a horde of the T-58. Maybe this one would be first or second. I definitely want to try a horde because that 3.8 second reload time will be very gimmicky, especially if you have like a whole cluster of them. I did want to go into ships, but this video is getting a bit too long, so I'll take some screenshots and post it up here of the new ships. All 10 of you naval enjoyers will rejoice, but I'm sorry, I just don't want to spend 10 minutes talking about ships. Not a lot of people play them. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. A regular video coming soon. It's with the VT1. It's going to be a banger. Stick around for that. But I'll see you guys in the next one.